They're like, oh yeah, a guy with Pensy Steam comes in every once in a while. They're not really much. Really test the LED in the headlight, but we'll take this at 10. Proceed to 15. Hey everyone, this is Pensy Joe here, and today we got a new TCS WOW install video. Unfortunately, I cannot get any Steam decoders for good value right now. So the L1, which will be the next one to be doing for the Steam line of my Steam engines, and then the K4 Platinum line number 1361 that I have not really shown that much, if not at all, on this channel, will be done afterwards. Until I can find more 4.6 Steam decoders, TCS 1517 decoders, I'll be buying more of those. But right now, there's just none that are good value on eBay right now. Some people are probably like, well, why not buy from the stores? And it's like, well, I could. However, it's just they're going up in price now. So it's like I do not want to have to spend a lot of money over how much they really are, like $125 right now, just for like one, kit. So I was like, I'm not paying 140, 170, 180 bucks for Steam decoders. So I'll wait until they do more runs again. It's just a shame, really. So I figured, we'll start doing some diesels, and I know some people are going to be upset, and I'm sorry to those who are. In the meantime, we're going to be doing something a little bit different until, I can get more decoders. I wanted to do a project, and this is pretty much, a project that I wanted to do, not so much, what the channel wants to see me do next. I saw these E7's, not E8's, but E7's AB units that are, really, really nice models. And this is an AB set by Broadway Limited. I did a review on these, and I compared it to the Paragon 3 versions, and I'm going to be selling the Paragon 3 version. So I'm not going to... I might, have a link for it in the description for this video or the review video. So I might as well make it both. So you'll see it in sometime in the description when you want to check it out. But yes, I have a B unit that's already been done. It was the easiest one, so I didn't think it would be interesting. But I added ground lights to it. But in this model, we're going to add ground lights. So we're going to make sure that the marker boards work and the headlight works. I'm not going to add any cab lights. I think that the light that comes off of this headlight here is good enough, and it's an LED, so it's not. I don't have to worry about it dying out. And I also have spare LEDs as well, so I don't really think I have to use them. So I think I'll be fine. We'll be adding a ground light. The B unit has a ground light that's similar over here. Under here, there's like a little airspace behind the wall. That's where the cab is. Same thing in the B unit. There's like a wall as well where this cab part would be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add like a black tape under here so that, the light doesn't bleed into the cab. But it'll be cool to have ground lights on this. They're a little bit bluish color, which some people might not like. Well, it's fine by me. It's all I really have, and I don't really want to buy more LEDs right now. And to be honest, this railroad's modernized with these E's. These are E's that are saved, and they still run on my fictional railroad on the Pennsylvania and Atlantic Railroad. So without further ado, we'll get started. I will take the shell off of this first. Now, it's not too hard. I don't know if I can do it with one hand. If not, I might as well just end it here. But I think I can get it without tipping it over. Or, it might be easier if I just do it in the next scene. So I'll see you guys in the next scene. We'll have the cover off, and then I'll explain the process for what we're going to do for this model. Okay, so now that we have, the cover off, this is what the decoder looks like. I'll be selling these decoders for people who still want the QSI sounds for the E units. These are just regular BLI E7's. These are not Pensy, specific. At least that I know. But I think these will be fine. This is QSI, quantum diesel, yada yada yada, all the good stuff and whatnot. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna unscrew. I'm gonna use a big screwdriver because it just has. You might be letting like that. That screwdriver head is too big. Well, it's all about torque, and it fits well in these, so it'll help me crack these open so that I'll be able to get in here and unplug everything as well. I'll have to also break those little zip ties as well so I can do what I need to do in here. So some people might be wondering, why am I working on these when I can be working on the FA2s or the Baldwin Sharks? And I saw these, and I saw them for a good price, and I figured, you know what? They're both powered, and these are really good. My club seems to like these a lot. I haven't heard really negative things except the QSI's overheating, and they just hog a lot of current. But they're pretty good. These are pretty good decoders, especially for diesels. They're really nice. You don't have to worry about anything doing the famous Broadway stop and go dance with these models. So that's one thing for certain to not have to worry about. And there we go. Got that guy out. They're both powered A/B sets, so I think it's really cool that I can do both units in one go. And I really like the diesel sounds. And I wanted to do more diesels except for my own diesels. I actually wanted to get started doing these besides, the ones I've done before with the C-liners, which do not have keep alive, unfortunately, and the Bachmann FA2s, which are tightly packed in there. And I don't have pretty much a lot of details I can put in those, especially ground lights and stuff like that. And the ground lights will be put right here. The LED will be angled down to try and get the light to go down this way. It's like a little nice groove right there, if I can brighten it up a bit. See that groove right here? This groove right here can allow light to go down. So that's what I'm going to do. It's the same thing on the B unit, except it's I think right around here. But that's okay. I'll have to have the LED pointing down. I'll put a black tape around so that there's no light bleeds over in here. And it's always already going to be wrapped around with a black plastic, kind of like how you saw on modern Broadway engines where they have some shrink wrap around the LED to not let any light bleed through. So that's what we're going to do. We're also going to replace these speakers. These are 0.3 watt speakers. These speakers do not like a lot of power, I guess. So I'm going to use these 1 watt speakers I got for $2 a pair. I'll put these little guys in there. And that's what we're going to put in here. They're 1 watt. And they're really good speakers. They don't do the sound that you hear and if you just decide to put TCS WOW without placing the new speakers in here, it's going to make all kind of shitty sound. So these are brand new speakers, and that's what we're going to put in here. Now, they're a little bit small, which is fine. I'll use black tape to tape them down so that they're not vibrating much in here. We're going to be taking this piece off, the volume control, and pretty much the decoder, and I'm going to figure out where these LEDs go, these wires go to. I already know what right rail and left rail are. This red wire coming for the motor, that's motor plus, and this is motor minus, the brown. So I don't have to really worry about how to do it because B unit's pretty much the same thing, except there's LED lights up front. The B unit didn't have LEDs initially, so it'll be a fun thing to do. It'll be a fun thing to figure out, and there's gonna be some multiple functions in here. Now, I plan on making the LEDs for the number boards. I think I'm going to make those. I'm trying to think. I think I'm going to make those, right? I am going to make those function 3. And the headlight's obviously going to be function 1. There's no rear headlight, unfortunately. I get E's just didn't have them unless they're. Unfortunately, this is not the E's that have, look, there's like no headlight on the rear of this. I'm not going to drill any holes or anything, so there's no real point. So that's just going to be the plan for this. There's again, I don't think I'm going to really do too much besides adding ground lights for the locomotive. Give it some more, some more oomph and some details, some lighting functions, to upgrade, because otherwise it's just a sound upgrade. And I'll be honest with you guys, it is worth the upgrade. It sounds modern, it runs well, it's got that very slow motor control, which is amazing. Sounds sound great. You can turn on and off the prime movers, and for you can they're 567 prime movers. I have them turbocharged, and that's what this one's gonna be. It's gonna be also turbocharged, and you can dual prime move. So it's like the real things. They can dual prime move, so it's pretty cool. Eventually, I'll add some more crew figures in here. I don't have any crew figures on hand, but I'll have to get some crew figures to put inside my model, and that will be done with that. So we'll get to the next section where I have, pretty much the decoder board ready to be taken off, and all these, clamps are taken off, and I can take off this piece over here. So we can really get all these screws off and take the cab out, and then we'll take a look at what we're going to be working with right here. Alrighty, so I got the decoder off. It's right here. Took some plates. I gotta take this plate off finally. And that should be it. Take this plate off, get the screws out. It's not working. I'm gonna use big screwdriver. That should get what I want. There we go, look at that. Fine tip screwdriver. That should solve my problems. Strange enough, it's not coming out still. Use big true screwdriver again. Not sure why it's not coming out as easily. Otherwise, I have no reason why it's not coming out. So I'm going to pause it right here and we'll get back to this. I'm going to figure out why that's not coming out. Okay, so I just got it out. That was pretty quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unsolder these blue wires from these speakers right here and get those out of the way first before I start messing with anything in here, especially when it comes to right rail and left rail. And I have my stuff right here, including the decoder and the Keep Alive pack. So right now we're getting past, tearing apart stuff. And right now we're going to start taking these speakers out, right? And the next step will be to put the new speakers in right here. One right there, one right there. Put them in here. And then I'm not going to solder them yet. They're going to be pretty much the last thing I'm going to be soldering. But I'm going to be soldering the LEDs, I'm going to be unsnipping actually these wires off first. And then we should be able to do the next step. Okay, so I have motor minus and motor plus. Motor minus is the brown, motor plus is the red. And then I got left rail, which is connected to the red for both trucks, and right rail as well for both trucks wired up to the left rail pickup. And now I got these new speakers in here. So we got the new speakers in here, and they're also taped down for no vibration as much as I can. And they're ready to go for the next part. And now what I'm going to do is going to do this red wire. This red wire represents pretty much the headlight. This is the headlight's ground, and then the ground for the number boards is the yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all the lights I'm going to need to do first. And then I'm going to rewire the speakers up. And then before I put the shell on, right, I'm going to do a light test to see if my wiring is correct before I make sure that these have, the shrink tubes done. Otherwise, I'm going to make sure I'm going to have to redo these two, which will be all right. That's what we're going to test to make sure it runs well. And once everything is good with the lights and sounds, we should be able to close this thing up. What I'm going to do quickly is wire these next. These two, the ground wire for the headlight and the marker lights. That will be the brown wire, which will be function 3 for the lights. And then function 1 will be for these lights that will be connected right behind the cab. So that's what we're going to do with that in a bit. First thing I want to do is to make sure that I gotta have to do a 1K ohm resistor connected to this blue wire here, and after that I'm gonna have to connect this with the LEDs that I'm gonna be adding for the ground lights. So I'll see you guys in the next part where we have more stuff wired up, and then we'll discuss pretty much the next step afterwards. We're gonna do some testing before we do before we finish up with the speakers. Alrighty, so I got the main 3.3 volts to this resistor that goes to the board over here for the 3 LEDs, number board lights and the headlight. And then I just wired up the white wire to this red wire, which is supposed to be the headlight's ground wire. And then this brown wire is connected to this yellow wire, which is for the ground of the 2 LEDs in this board right here. So what should happen is when I test this model, the lights should be working as is. And I also have these ground lights over here wired up as well to right behind this resistor over here. So I will heat shrink that once everything looks good. And then if everything looks well, we will do the speakers, make sure everything looks good, and then I'll do a shell test to see how the ground lights look, see if there's any light bleed inside the cab, and if there is anything, I'll do something to make sure that there's no light bleed inside to the cab. Alrighty, I think we're almost done with this model. This is a fairly easy model. This is not a hard model. This is definitely one of those easier models to work on for sure. Okay, so after fumbling around with the wiring for about an hour and doing some testing, I decided to split the keep alive capacitor wire and merge it together before this resistor here, and then the rest of it goes all the way down to the positive over here for the ground lights of the EA unit. And then it goes back to green. This is all nice, compact. It's got a plastic cover, so there's no metal, so this decoder is not going to get anything or burn up or anything like that. So now the headlight works, and the, well, trying to think of it, the number boards are working again. Jeez. Before I tried to do it, but for some reason, having it in series, well, parallel after the first resistor that comes from the decoder on the 9-pin side. The problem is that it would just go to this instead, and for these LEDs over here instead of doing both. So I'm guessing it's part of, simple physics when it comes to electrons and, the least path of resistance. So I guess this was the least pass of resistance. So that's how we ended up here. I have it taped down. I have these wires twisted over here and these wires twisted over here for in case I want to do any more lighting for whatever reason. Probably not. Most likely there's not going to be any lighting. Headlight has been programmed so that it can stay on forward and reverse. Kind of like how the real locomotives have the forward light on. I figured since there's no reverse light, I might as well just leave it like this and have it work like this. So the last thing we just have to do is put the shell on, and the only thing I added to the shell was these pieces of black tape right here to block light bleeding from these LEDs right here. So we're just going to put the shell back on. As you can see, just slides back on, clamps into place, and there we have it. Now it's ready to go, and I'll see you all at the layout where we have this locomotive and the B unit test running together. Alrighty, so I have my flasher on so that we can see. It's pretty much nighttime now. It's around 6 o'clock, 6:30 now. And yeah, the A unit took a little bit longer than I thought it would. It had some trial and error when it came to the LEDs working. Not sure why. The only LED that's on the B unit are those two LEDs for the ground lights. So let's turn these babies up. As you can see, there's some ground lights right over here in the A unit. Number board's on and headlight. And over here, as you can see, that's a piece of light over there. Turn off the flasher for a second. There you go. Ground lights. Isn't that neat? I'm going to the other side. There's ground lights as well. This is not as bright over here for the rear B unit, but I think it's okay. I can always mess with that if I wanted to. But it's mainly the A unit I have to worry about the most. But the ground lights are there for the crew people to check on anything and see if the locomotives are moving. So I thought it was pretty cool to add that. So I got the EMD 567 prime movers turbocharged. Both of them are turbocharged, and there's a function where you can make dual prime movers. So there's 4 prime movers running right now. So we're going to press the horn. Leslie 200 horn. I like these horns. So they both make the horn sound, and then I got a regular pneumatic bell. Pretty cool stuff, brass pneumatic bell. So for function 3, we have short toe, and of course you got the quill. Pretty cool stuff right there. So we got dynamic brakes, which for some reason sounds for revving amp of the turbocharger or something goes up to. So dynamic brakes are charging up. So I don't think we can move. Well, we can move actually. So that's pretty cool. 6 is brake release. 7 is brakes applied. I'm going to release the brakes. There we go, release the brakes. Obviously, you can do the lights and functions. Now, function 1 is still the ground lights for both units. So if I go to function, light mode active. There you go, ground lights are on. Pretty cool stuff. Both units have the ground lights on. We got the number boards on, and the headlight is on. Both in reverse and forward. So we'll turn everything on, because why not?
Sound mode active.
Now, I think number 9 is rotate horn bell, but we're not going to do that. I already got what I want to set up. So now we can do manual notch chops on function 10, so just letting you guys know this is going to get really loud. And notch 3. Gonna go notch 4. Notch 5. And then notch 6. Notch 7. I'm gonna go to notch 8. It is amazing hearing these things roar. It is absolutely fantastic. They're really loud, I know, but you know, it sounds like I'm standing next to the real thing. It's just, that's how amazing they are. Of course, I'm going to play with the volume controls, especially when I go to the train club. I don't want them too loud and being too obnoxious, especially those turbochargers. Man, are they whine really loud. However, at 50% speed, they're not really, you know, making all that grunt and sound, so that's a plus side on that. The next major thing I will be working on is, well, not really speed matching. Speed matching's fine. Locomotives sound pretty good. I have them both on switcher momentum, so they can easily go forward and easily stop. Can have the sound of the windshield wipers. Well, actually, I don't want the sounds to go higher. Got the air spitter, the uncoupling sound, and you got the crew alert. So pretty cool. But that's more modern stuff for the crew alert. Anywho, we will have this locomotive running around the layout, or these locomotives really. I'm really happy with this, how they turned out. These are really nice. I really like how they sound and upgrading these. I mean, they really are immaculate. If I wanted to do another A unit, I'd probably do another QSI one and do an ABA, but I think the AB's fine, really, honestly. You don't really need more power for this, honestly. And for any of my trains, I don't really need that much power. So we're going to give this guy a go. There's the bell on. There we go. We're slightly moving. Both units are slightly moving. It's amazing. I love that motor control. Last thing I need to do is just change the couplers out with KDs, and these should be ready to go. And what we're going to do now is turn off that so you can see more of the ground lights. So I'm going to let these run for 15 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video of this TCS WOW install. To say the least, you know, this is a success. I'm really happy with how these turned out. They don't really need to be speed matched, per much to say. The B unit's kind of pushing a little bit, which is kind of fine. It's very slight, and I can always add more lube to the bearings, to the pickup bearings, and see how that works with them. Other than that, this is Pensy Joe signing out again. Until next time on the next video. Bye now.